what happened with the Falcons? All this promise, all this hope, new QB, right? A second QB. And here we are, week 1, and it's like the same story on repeat again. I don't know if we're going to control for that. But, sir, welcome back to another episode of the Think RBA podcast. We are here. We are excited. That's my boy Chico. Boy Ayo. Not Ayo, I'm sorry, man. I'm excited for the Chico. That's the problem. Because this is about you, man. This is about you. And this is Mr. OK. But first week, man, of the NFL. It's back. I know you're excited. Half of America, or a lot of America's excited. That lull is over. You're getting those alerts on your fantasy. Whatever's happening, right? Things, so questionable, playing, healthy, whatever the case is. Man, but NFL Week 1 is back. So I'm going to say congratulations. I know this is a big thing for especially you and your household. I know it's Sunday's a lockdown day. You get down in the man cave, and
it's a federal holiday for us.
Correct. It's a federal holiday.
It's a mandated holiday.
Absolutely. And it was a very exciting week. So I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on all that has happened, is happening, could happen, may happen, and just kind of get your thoughts on it, because I'm sure you have plenty of things you have seen and a lot of reactions, a lot of anxiety based on some of the Falcon performances. And so forth.
See why? Like we're not even like 3 minutes in, bro. Come on.
We'll revisit it. How about that? We'll curve it, put it in the parking lot, and we'll bring it back later.
We need to do that.
All right. Well, let's start with the biggest winner, man. The biggest winner and the biggest loser. But let's start with the winner for the week. What were your thoughts on that?
So my biggest winner, one of my biggest winners, I might have a couple, but first of all is the fans. Fans were the big winners because football is back. It's just such a special time of the year that,
like
especially
Christmas,
week 1, it really is. It's like one of those like, it's finally here. We've been waiting months and months and months and months and months, and it's a long off season, especially that period between May and June. Oh my God! Thank goodness we like basketball because.
The Olympics
that can occupy some of our time, but football wise, that is the worst 2 months of the calendar year. So the winner are the fans, like being able to. So we had 2 TVs set up. Just being able to say 7 hours of commercial-free football starts now. Like Scott Hansen, NFL Red Zone on one. We had the Steelers Falcons on the other TV, and like it was just it's back. So I think the fans are the big winners for week 1 always, because, our love, especially for those hardcore fans that'll sit and watch 7 hours of commercial free football. That's a long day.
This guy right here.
Oh, every Sunday. That's untouchable. So in terms of other big winners, I mean, I would say that it's honestly like the same group that we expect, right? Usually week 1 gives us like a lot of surprises, and I just don't feel like there were very many surprises, right? We expected Ravens Chiefs to be a great game. What happened? Came down to a toe, bro. A toe. It was like the KD. Remember the KD toe shot?
Yep.
Against the Bucks?
Yep.
Like that toe, just this much. Just a big toe. Somebody sent me a meme. If he's like Deion Sanders, it would have been a touchdown because the toe's gone. But like that toe,
that is so messed.
But we expected that kind of crazy game. But with the Chiefs winning, you expected the Bills to do well. You expected, the Dolphins to do well. You expected the Cowboys to do well. I expected a great game from the Lions-Rams. They went into overtime. Jets-49ers, so it wasn't quite as good of a game. 49ers were at home, though. You kind of expect that, okay. So, like, just performance-wise, it was a lot of that makes sense. When you walk through the scores and the box scores, even if you didn't watch it, you'd be like, I can see that. There's only one shocker, but I'm going to save it for the unexpected performances.
Okay. Well, on the flip side, biggest loser, the same thing. You expected it, whatever it was.
The biggest loser, I gotta say, the Carolina Panthers, bro. They got mollywopped, 47-10. Like, if you think about how much they gave up to Chicago to get Bryce Young, an undersized quarterback, and like they gave up too much that they don't have any weapons around them. Not only do they not have real weapons around them, but they don't have a good offensive line. Their defense is trash. I mean, 47 points to the Saints, like that's and yeah, they were on the road, but like still, it wasn't even close to be competitive. Like it's Carolina Panthers are a hard watch.
So,
but then again,
is it safe to say?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say this. Then that's a good thing because same division, right? The Falcons have a nice, easy bye week, whatever week they play them.
Oh yeah, for sure for us. Though the one thing is like when you're in division, those games are always unpredictable. But yes, it should be an easy game. Also on the flip side, your Giants, man, 28-6, man. At home,
garbage.
At home. So your quarterback, I'm anointing you as a permanent Giants fan, by the way.
Since when,
bro? Because you're a permanent New York Giants fan.
There's also the Jets, but I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Dylan walks around going, Jets just means just to end the season. No, but your quarterback, since he signed his $140 million deal, has thrown more touchdowns to the other team, pick sixes, than he has to his own team. Then touchdowns.
You know what we call that? You know what we call that?
What?
In basketball, we call that when we give the opposition player, when the opposition player is a 3-point line, is about to shoot, and you walk away because you're not worried about it. You know what you call that?
Yep.
Oh, he with us.
I thought you were going to call him a thief because he just stole all that money from him.
He's a thief, but he with us, though. That's what they're saying to him. He with us. Throwing pick sixes. That's terrible, man.
That is really terrible.
Giants need a refund.
A refund?
Or a redo.
And it's crazy, too, because they were on the Hard Knocks in the preseason. Like, and what they call the off-season, not preseason, because Hard Knocks preseason was training camp was the Bears. But they were in, like, the off-season, right? And the Giants GM is, like, talking to his son on his kids and family in the morning of the draft in his office about who he should draft. And his son was like, you got to go get Jaden Daniels, who ended up going to the Commanders. And he was like, you only have this job once. You need to go take somebody. And he did not take a quarterback. And so here we are. And I fear he's not going to last that much longer in New York with the way things that are going right now. So those are my biggest. I mean, you're talking about two teams. Can I give you one more?
Sure.
Deshaun Watson. I saw something on Twitter that said Deshaun Watson died on that massage table, meaning like the Deshaun Watson meaning the Deshaun Watson we knew before, right? The Deshaun Watson that went and battled Pat Mahomes
the Texans,
in the playoffs.
Deshaun Watson.
He died on those Texan tables because he has not been the same.
Revisit that, but okay.
He has not been the same since he got to Cleveland. And they did much better last year when Flacco came in, when he was hurt. And, he looked horrible on Sunday. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull up his box score. He was 24 of 45 for 169 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks, and he was sacked 6 times. He had a QBR of 9.3. Wow. That is so bad, bro. That is so bad. And a passer rating of a QB rating of 51.1. I mean, he was horrible. And you know what the 6 sacks tells me? It's just me. But the 6 sacks tell me that your teammates don't like you neither because they're not blocking for your ass. Like,
correct. That's what I was thinking. They don't like you.
They don't like you. They don't like you. And actually, there's a clip out there. You can find it. He's like trying to help his offensive lineman up. His offensive lineman like push his hand away. They don't like him.
Oh, wow.
So he's another one for me that's like a big loser for the week because, they lost to 33-17 and he's been horrible.
Okay. Well, let's go to unexpected performances.
Okay.
And I want to categorize this between good and bad.
Okay.
A very good unexpected performance and a one that you'd expected was going to be good, but
So my unexpected good performance my unexpected performance of the week is the Patriots going in to Cincinnati and beating the Bengals, because everybody had this Patriots team written off. Okay, they lost Bill. They drafted a new quarterback who they didn't play on Sunday, by the way. They started Jacoby Brissett, the veteran. They've got no threats. Like, I'm gonna read to you who caught passes for them on Sunday. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Austin Hooper, who played with the Falcons back when we made the Super Bowl. Tyquan Thornton, KJ Osborne, Hunter Henry, Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk, and Ramondre Stevenson.
Okay.
Unless you're like a deep fan, like, of course I know some of those names, but like Hooper, Henry, Osborne, they're kind of up there in their careers. Some of the other guys are younger, but like, again, they don't have any all-pro player. None. Zero. Zip. And then on defensively, they traded away Matt Judon, who was their all-pro player, traded him to Atlanta. Now they do have a really good rookie corner, Christian Gonzalez, and some other, they have good solid players, but nobody who is going to stick out, right? There's no Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for them to go in and get that win, 16-10 over Cincinnati, was huge. I think that was the unexpected, winner of the week. Like, okay, now we don't want to overreact, right? And we're not putting them in the Super Bowl. But, like, they may be a tough team for the other teams in the AFC East, because the AFC East has three other teams that are all fighting for the playoffs: the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins. So it's going to be that Patriots might have something to say about that.
All right, well, like you said, let's not overreact. But we'll see what happens. But that's
good, because because the Bengals were supposed to come in this year and be the Bengals again, right? Joe Burrow got hurt last year, so
right.
So on the flip side, an unexpected performance where somebody did bad, man,
or not as good as you had thought they would.
So okay,
the Bengals, right?
The Bengals would be one, but we already kind of talked about that. So I'm going to give you another one. I'm not going to go to Atlanta because I know that you want to probably do a whole segment on Atlanta. That would probably be one of mine, but I'm going to hold that for that segment.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Jets, and I'm going to get back to some of what I was upset about their performance when we talk about our fantasy teams. But yeah, they didn't have a great game, 32-19, and that's with no Christian McCaffrey. So all offseason, I heard about this Jets defense. Aaron Rodgers is healthy, blah, blah, blah. Breece Hall's the number 2 running back in fantasy. They've got receiving core, Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard and all these guys, tough defense. Like, they're going to be a team to mess with. And I just expected a better game. I'll be honest with you. I fell asleep midway through.
Wow.
I had to go back and catch it. I was just like, this is...
So you're basically validating is just end the season.
I'm not going to say all that. I'm not going to say all that. That is my son's favorite thing to walk around saying. But yeah, obviously San Fran has a lot of weapons, even outside of Christian McCaffrey. But I just expected a closer game, more of a fight than 32-19. And so I really think that I'm just interested to see the Jets against another team that's not the 49ers' tough defense. I think they play the Titans this week. The Titans got a solid defense too, but they're not San Francisco 49ers or anything. So now if they go and lay an egg in Tennessee, and maybe we'll have a different conversation next week. But I would say unexpected was, I thought the Jets, with all the hype, with the fact that Rodgers went down last year, so this is our year, we're going to show everybody, and then 19 points. Okay.
But again, I'm not shocked, right? This is why I'll take the Giants over the Jets any day. If you're gonna throw fandoms at me, take the Giants over the Jets
in their totality. Yes,
yeah, that's what I meant. Not correct.
Right now, no, nobody wants the Giants right now. The Giants don't want the Giants right now.
Hey, all I know is that they have some jewelry and hardware that the other teams don't. So let's move to on the other side. Let's go to rookie expectations. A lot of rookies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, did rookies really meet expectations this week one? Overall, did someone stand out to you, or did you expect something special from somebody like Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Caleb, whatever. Did they really perform the way that one would expect them to, or is it just too early? Well, I'm assuming it's too early, but still, you paid for a lot of.
I don't know that it's too early though. I mean, I think when you look at some of it, just depends on where you go, right? So like if you talk about the Bears, Caleb Williams had a very rough debut, but they won. Now, did they win because of him? No. Did they win in spite of him? Yes. But he had a rough debut. But there were some other guys, right? And I mean, so like I got to give it up for, you have a guy like Keon Coleman, who was the wide receiver, the Buffalo pick. He had 4 catches for 51 yards, leading receiver in the game. Marvin Harrison Jr., by the way, was in that game and non-existent, not a factor. They got to get that worked out. There was a play that's out there on X. You can find it, and it's like he's wide open. And Kyler's response, I think he had met with the media today or yesterday, and his response was, "Oh, that's not my job." But I think he was basically trying to say the play wasn't designed to go to Marvin, despite the fact that he was wide open. Like, bro, you got to find him. Whether it's
I mean, he's wide open. He's wide open.
Your job to find the open guy, but I guess he wasn't in the progression. I don't know.
Wow.
You got a guy like, Tank Bigsby, who popped in for Jacksonville, 12 carries, 73 yards. Their rookie receiver for Jacksonville, Brian Thomas, had a touchdown. Malik Neighbors for the Giants. Now, the Giants didn't do a whole lot, but he still had 5 catches for 66 yards and with Daniel Jones as the quarterback. So, can you imagine what he would do with a good quarterback? My goodness. I would have had double or triple that with a good quarterback.
Right, over 100 yards.
Brock Bowers had a good game for Las Vegas. Who else? Jaden Daniels. I mean, I think him and Caleb were the only. Caleb, and Bo Nix were the quarterbacks that played. Jaden Daniels, he was 17 of 24, so only missed on 7 passes, which is good. He only had 184 yards, so it wasn't really stretching the field. He had a QB rating of 93, but running the ball, he had 16 carries for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. The 2 touchdowns were on QB run pass options right on the goal line.
Okay.
But he still had 16 carries for 88 yards. And so he was their leading rusher, leading passer. Not a bad debut, especially on the road against a pretty good Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense too. So I'm using these examples to say I think some of these rookies are legit. Some of these rookies are legit. And it'll be interesting to see how they continue to progress over the coming weeks.
Okay. Well, all that being said, right, this big recap, what is your, I'm going to give you an option here, RBA player / moment of week one?
Man, there were a lot of really good performances.
When I say RBA, I mean like the guy that, clutch. What it says on your shirt, right? On your shirt, right? RBA.
Man, there were a lot of good performances. I think had the touchdown in the Ravens game counted, I would have went with Isaiah Likely. He had 9 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown. It would have been something more like 10 catches, 130 something, and 2 touchdowns. And he came back from injury because he had missed the pass in the end zone, and he had to come out for a couple of plays because he landed hard on the ground. So had he come back in banged up and caught that touchdown, I mean that even it not being a touchdown, it was an RBA type of performance. But I think I gotta go with. This is gonna be hard if we keep doing this week to week.
Is it the toughest?
No, I'm gonna go with Jordan Mason. And so Jordan Mason, if anybody didn't watch the game, the Monday night game, is the backup running back for the San Francisco 49ers. So came to game time, and they ended up surprisingly deactivating Christian McCaffrey, which was interesting because that created a little drama after the game we could talk about. But Jordan Mason then had to step in. So then, of course, you think okay, Christian McCaffrey's out. Production's going to drop a little bit. Game's going to be a little bit easier. Jets are going to have a better chance because it's just Brock Purdy, Samuel, Kittle, etc. This man stepped in and carried the ball 28 times. 28 times they gave the ball to this guy who I believe was undrafted out of Georgia Tech, or he was drafted in one of the late rounds. But That's one thing Kyle Shanahan is known for, is he picks he finds these late round running backs, undrafted running backs, and in his system, he can turn them into a monster as long as they call them one cut and go. Like you run the play that's designed, one cut and you go. And he turns them into monsters. He had 28 carries, 147 yards and a touchdown, but he was the difference maker in the game. I mean, because he kept getting first downs. He kept getting, 5-6 yards of play, and he was just like pounding it down, like just every play. And what that does, especially against a tough defense, is you start to break them, right?
Yeah.
Because you're getting first down. Okay, you get 5 yards a play, right? And that's his average. His average is 5.3 yards a touch.
That's it.
So you get 5 yards, you're just going down the field.
Right.
And so I just think to be in that position in prime time behind the number one back in fantasy,
right,
the number one back in the NFL projected to be, forget fantasy. Like Christian McCaffrey's the consensus number one running back in the NFL.
Right.
And he came in and just casually dropped 28, 147 in a tutty.
Yeah, he's in good company. He got the energy from Christian. He said, let me borrow some of this.
And so it was one of the better rushing days. It wasn't the best rushing day of the week. It was one of the better rushing days of the week. So I feel like performance wise, he meets the RBA criteria, but also too just the situation, right? Because there's a lot of guys you get thrust into that moment, and you're like, are they ready? Do we know if they're ready?
Right.
And he stepped up to the challenge. I mean, quite frankly.
He made the most of it.
The moment wasn't too much. He made the most of the opportunity. Boom. So I'm going to give my RBA player / moment of the week to Jordan Mason, running back, San Francisco 49ers.
And this should cue the Eminem song, right? The moment, right? So
I'll see. Never. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. So we have our first official week 1 RBA player. You chose a player of the week. Awesome. Now, sir, I want to step away from the field. May I step away from the field?
Sure.
Or actually, you know what? Before I step away from the field.
Let's do it.
No, before I step away from the field, I want to come to the sidelines at least of the field. I don't want to go too far from the field. And I want to go into this segment I'm going to call Falcon Frenzy.
I knew it was coming.
There is a lot of, what's the right way to say this? I know you trash the Giants. I get it. They're hot garbage, right? All that. But bro, what happened with the Falcons? All this promise, all this hope, new QB, right? A second QB. And here we are, week 1. And it's like the same story on repeat again. Are we watching the same movie? Are you watching the same movie? Have you seen this show before? Sir, what are your thoughts on it? Please. I'm very, very excited.
Did you get all of it out of your
system? If I can make that meme, this meme right here is the life meme of my man Chico right. This should be the new Falcon.
Did you get out of your system yet? Okay.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
The first thing I have to say is I love my team.
Of course.
If anybody out there ever wants to know whether a man is loyal or not, if you're dating a man, doesn't matter how you identify. If you're dating a man or a woman, anybody, if you're dating someone,
a person,
and you want to know how loyal they are, look at their favorite team and how long they've been a fan of that team.
Yes.
Because there's a couple things nobody's ever going to be able to say about me. That I'm a bandwagoner, because what's there to bandwagon? And 2, that I'm not loyal. Because I'm going to be honest with you, this one was hard. So it was hard for a number of reasons. 1, for everything you just said, right? Everything you just said. You have the excitement. You have the buildup of it's a brand new season. And you got all this hype, especially in the last 2.5 weeks, because once we got Judon and Simmons, the hype train grew.
Right.
We went from the Falcons they could compete for the NFC South to they could compete for a Super Bowl. Like that's where the media was going. But then you got to play the game. And it was rough. And then also too, like having Steelers fans in my house, family that has been staying here, and we've been talking junk for months. leading up to this game. At one point, we were going to go to this game. I'm so glad we did not go.
Aren't you glad you did?
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't waste some money to go to this game. But we were going to go to this game at one point. We were all going to drive down there. So the trash talking hurt.
You ain't never scared.
Look, Bone Crusher, attention. Now, Dylan got real quiet. He was mad. Mad. You know, for me, I think for me what's interesting was as I was processing it after the game and you start to see things starting to come out, right? They did all the post-game interviews, whatever. What got me was that, and I didn't even realize watching it live because there was so much going on between us watching that and Red Zone, but I didn't even realize or analyze to know that Kirk Cousins was in pistol or shotgun every play. He didn't do any drop back play action or anything. He took no steps from under center. To me, it just is like red flags to like, why is he not taking, like, first of all, it makes our offense more predictable. Right. Like and the pass rushers that the Steelers have between Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt, just have a quarterback like be in the gun the whole time. And they just got to pin their ears back. And then they were guessing the snap count, which killed us too. Like, it just didn't seem like there was a lot of adjustment. It seems like Kirk is either not fully healed from his injury or potentially he's like a little gun shy. Maybe he doesn't trust it enough to plan on it correctly. But in that case, he can't be out there. Like, if that's the case, he cannot be out there. But I don't know what the excuse is. Is it because we have a new offensive coordinator? But how do you call, like, there's no way that this guy is going to call a game plan where he doesn't put his quarterback under center once. And even the way, if you look at how he was planning, like, it just throws he was making, the inaccuracies, he definitely was not planning on that foot the way that he used to. And so I think it's because he's either not fully healed or mentally he hasn't got past that block yet of the injury.
Okay, well, I'm not going to harp too much on it. I know you've already felt the pain, anxiety, and I know it's going to be a long season, so I'm not going to keep,
can I just tell you what hurt even more?
Sure.
Was, you know who the Steelers offensive coordinator is, right?
No, tell me.
Our old head coach that we just fired.
Oh, wow.
So he came in week 1 to the team. Like, the last time he was on the sideline before this game was his last game coaching for us. His next game, same stadium, different team. He escapes with the 18-10 win. But honestly, like, when you really break it down, they really just won because they were able to extend enough drives, but our defense really did stop them. I mean, we held them to 18 points. They didn't score a touchdown. So those 18 points were all field goals.
Well, in Michael Jordan's words, I never lost a game. I just ran out of time. So
he was 6 for 6 on field goals.
Hey, clutch, man. It's clutch.
That's clutch. And so, I mean, like, that is tough. Like, you lost to a kicker, right? Essentially, you lost to a kicker. So they've got a lot to clean up because we're on Monday Night Football next week. And you know who we got?
Who's that?
We got the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh, that's going to be tough, man.
Exactly. It's another great pass rush. And I'm like, oh, Kirk ain't there. They got to put Penix in. They have to. Like, he just. But I also know this. Can I give the optimistic Falcons side?
Sure.
We got the Eagles next and the Chiefs after. Once we get through those 3 weeks, even if we're 0-3, I'm not going to be too stressed because the rest of our schedule, we're good. Like, all 3 of our tough games are right. That we have one more tough game all season, and it's at home against the Cowboys.
I've heard.
You know what our schedule is after that? Let me read it to you.
Go ahead.
So we have the Steelers, Eagles, Chiefs. Then after that, we have the Saints, Bucks, Panthers, Seahawks, Bucks. Then we have the Cowboys. That's going to be tough. Saints, Broncos, Chargers, Vikings, Raiders, Giants, Commanders, and Panthers. Not a tough schedule.
Okay.
So,
well, but then like again, you said, and then you have to go play the game.
There you go.
Now can I go off the field? Fully off the field?
Sure.
I'm not on the sidelines anymore. I want to talk about a moment. Someone made a debut.
Okay.
And I gave him a name. Like, gave him a mafia name. Tommy the Boot Brady.
Oh, yes.
Tommy the Boot. That's what I gave him. So Tommy the Boot Brady made his debut. I can't remember what game it was. What's the Browns game, I believe.
Yeah, Browns Cowboys. Yep.
Browns-Cowboys game. And there were mixed reviews. Like he didn't do as well as, but it was his first time. But he did make some correct calls and whatnot. The game wasn't exciting. So, I guess he's still learning the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
And true Tom Brady fashion, he'll eventually get to that point where he'll grind it out and he'll figure it out. But what were your thoughts on that? Did you get a chance to listen to him? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we got to check some of that out because by the time they played in the later slot of games. So the Falcons game was over. So we were just watching Red Zone. And of course, anytime the Cowboys are on, they go to that a lot. So got to check it out. I didn't think he did bad at all. I thought he did a good job. I've kind of heard him. I think he did a preseason game or something. Like I've heard him in other forums do some analysis, and he seems to be very thoughtful, like you said, in his fashion. But I think like to really break down what, Tom's fashion, like he's going to be prepared. He's going to be super prepared. And so I think that level of preparation that he brought to the NFL, he's going to bring to this as well. And so I thought he did an amazing job. And, he's like, it's the first game. He's going to catch his groove within the first couple of weeks. And then he's really going to be worth all that money that they paid him.
What grade would you give him first time?
I give him like a B+.
Oh, that's a great
A- maybe. Yeah.
Great start.
Yeah, he wasn't bad at all.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to finish off the NFL part of it before we get to our fantasy side of it. So real life before we get to the fake virtual life, basically. Last question is for real life is, what are you most excited about next week? What are you looking forward to?
Ooh,
besides the Falcons taking another L.
See, like,
I got to.
Every time. And when they start not taking L's, I'm going to give it right back.
Hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, we got a great game coming up. Bills, Dolphins. That's always fun. I'm just scrolling through, looking at the games, and Falcons, Eagles is going to be tough. So normally I would say Bengals, Chiefs, right?
Normally.
Like that one just pops out. But if that Bengals team that was there last week shows up, that's going to be a slaughter.
Okay.
We have to call the cops because it's going to be a murder up in there.
Just not in Miami, though, please. Not in Miami.
No, it'll be in Arrowhead. I don't know if that could be worse. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of the other games are – the other thing that I'll be interested to see next week storyline-wise is, Jordan Love is hurt, went down for the Packers, going to be out for a while. Can Malik Willis – he's part of that same draft class where we got Desmond Ridder and it's in the same one where every quarterback is no longer with their original team except for one. You know who the one is? Brock Purdy.
Hey,
Mr. Irrelevant. Out of all the quarterbacks drafted, Kenny Pickett was the only one the first round. Steelers traded him to the Eagles. Desmond Ridder went to the Cardinals. He's on their practice squad. Malik Willis went from the Titans. Now he's with Green Bay. Sam Howell's not with the Commanders anymore. Who else was in that draft? It was there's another one too. I forget who it was. But anyway, none of them are with their original teams anymore, except for the last pick of the draft, Brock Purdy, who's starting for the 49ers. So all these draft experts and there you go. That's where you're at. Now, I will say this, Bucks Lions should be pretty good. As much as I hate to say it, did I tell you that I got my Bucks? My best friend from college is a Bucks fan, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and so immediately, once the Bucks won and we had lost and all of that was firmed up, immediately the text started coming through.
Of course.
And I'm like, bro, you beat the Commanders acting like you won the damn Super Bowl. He said, do you want me to send you the Bucks NFC South Division T-shirts tomorrow? I was like, bro.
Wow.
You beat the Commanders, bro.
Big
Come on. But yeah, no, the Bucks Lions game should be good in Detroit. And then potentially too, I hate saying it again, it's in my division, but Saints Cowboys, I mean, the Saints put up 47 points last week. But again, it was the Panthers. So I guess we're going to find out quickly if they're real or not going up against the Cowboys. But other than that, I think most, Bills, Dolphins, but those Thursday night games are just so hard because I work all day. I have to go coach tomorrow night. I'm going to get home right as the game starts. Hopefully I'll make it through. Getting old, all this gray hair here.
The salt and pepper.
But it is going to be a great game. Tua, Tyreek, et cetera. But I think outside of that, I'll probably be looking at the Bengals Chiefs to see whether the Bengals are going to step up or not.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see how exciting or not so exciting this is come week 2.
Yeah, not so exciting. And for the Falcons to win, of course.
So now we're in La La Land. So perfect. Now we're going to the fake world. That's part of the fake world. So
as soon as I said it, I realized I was
appreciate the
like,
lob. Appreciate the. This is me being wide open. So I appreciate the pass. Let's go to
okay.
the fake world. We have a fantasy
Yep.
draft. We did a whole episode on this, right? How we drafted and all that with the kids, and I believe some of your family members. 6 of us in here had a very exciting draft. Let's just say some very interesting picks. A lot of movement I've seen after week 1 from all of us.
Yeah. Even before then, I was like, I saw the big Dickies picking up players, dropping players. I was like, this guy's busy.
I was like, man, you know what? Let me try something new. This is just a whole new season for me.
It worked.
So,
it worked.
It did work. I think it worked at least. But what were your thoughts and takeaways on that? Because I saw something immediately, and I was like, man, had this guy only done this, he'd be 1-0.
You talking about me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the other 2 games, well, first of all, I think before we talk about that, I think we just say with only 6 teams, it's so different than playing a bigger league where you have less players because there's so many players to choose from and there's so many options. Right. It really makes you hone in. Now, we also did some crazy stuff. It's not a normal fantasy league. That's why we call it low expectations because, it's outside of probably me, maybe my sister and brother-in-law, they're getting more into fantasy. But other than that, everybody's just kind of like, this is just for fun. But our point system too, crazy. Because you
revamped it this year.
We revamped it. You can get, points for first downs, but then you also can get, there's a lot of opportunities for negative points for negative plays.
Right.
And, we added some juice to the kickers if you make it over, 50 plus, so that way your kicker becomes even more valuable, which really led into, the other 2 games weren't close. Tage handled his business and he won. I mean, it's crazy because not only did he win, but he had 36 points of Chris Godwin, 26 points of Xavier Worthy on the bench. That's just nuts. And he still won by 50.
That's crazy. He
still won by 50. And then the Big Bickies, which is Mr. Okadan himself, you won by what, 20 something?
Something like that.
Even though Mahomes didn't have a great game.
Right.
Now, you beat D. He did leave 25 points on his bench, but you left 20 on yours for a quarterback. So, you just outperformed him. But the game of the week was me against my sister.
Yes, sir.
And it was crazy because going into the game, she had, who was it? Christian McCaffrey.
You were projected to win.
So I was projected to win, but then she started taking over because Anthony Richardson gave her 54 points.
Yes, he did.
And so for those listening, just figure out how could you get 54 points. I'm going to break down what those 54 points. Man. So he had 212 pass yards, 2 pass touchdowns, an interception. That's minus points. So that's minus points. 2 sacks, that's minus points. He had 56 rush yards, a rush TD. But here's where I got it, right? Here's where all the points came. Because we put points in for 40-yard completions and 40-yard touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
He had 3 40-yard completions.
My God.
And he had 2 40-yard touchdown passes.
That's insane.
So that's where all of her points came from on that. I mean, it was it was crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
But then she had other players do well. So I felt good going out. I was like, okay, you got Christian McCaffrey. I got the Jets defense. I've got Breece Hall. And she had San Francisco's kicker. And she had McCaffrey. McCaffrey didn't play. I was like, oh, this is
right.
easy.
It's easy.
Right?
Easy money.
Easy money. And it was within 2-3 points at halftime. And I'm into the third quarter. And I'm like, look, Kittle's going to get another catch or 2. Breece Hall is going to get some more yards. It's going to be over, right?
Right.
And then I told you I didn't make it through the whole game. And so I woke up maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, let me go check this real quick in my sleep. And I look and I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me because her San Francisco kid got 26 points, projected for 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this guy, 26 points. He had 2 field goals from 50 plus. 2 field goals from 49. It's crazy. I lost to a kicker.
Lost to a kicker.
But I did text my sister the next day, and I was like, "Look, that's the fun part of this league because like anything can happen with the crazy point system we put in.
Right.
Okay, so you just got to try to assemble your best team. You know, how was I gonna know that Amon-Ra St. Brown's gonna put up 5 points? Like,
right.
That's crazy.
And the crazy thing is, I was just thinking, I was like, man, had this guy only put in Stephon Diggs, he would have beat her. He would have beat her.
But that's the other thing. I had Stephon Diggs on my bench with 27. I had Tua on my bench with 28.
Yes.
And I had started Kirk instead. So like, have no fear. Have no fear. Week 2, I've got Tua and Lamar starting. Those are my 2 quarterbacks.
Okay. I was gonna say, man,
but I'm coming back. I got I'm projected to win by like 40 right now.
Right. And what's crazy is, so I was talking to Tej about it. Like, I was like, congratulations, your first official win and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, however, since this is your first time, I want to give you a little bit of a heads up that there's this thing called players getting hurt in the middle of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that will absolutely
destroy you.
Especially if they get hurt early. First quarter, they hadn't put any points up yet.
Yep.
That's a dud throughout that.
Well, that happened too in the game with me and my sister, because I had Cooper Kupp for the Rams and she had Puka, and then he got hurt and didn't come back, and now he's going to be on IR. And Cooper got 14 catches for the rest of that game, so it's going to be fun. This week, Tej and D go up against each other, and then you got my sister, so good luck.
Oh boy, here we go. She does have a squad.
Yes, sir. She does.
So we'll see. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, and we'll see what happens. We'll recap next week. But with that, anything else you got, sir? Nothing else?
Sir. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Yes, sir. Until next time, at Think RBA.
Ooh, wrong pod.
We're going
to have that crossover soon.
Yeah, I got my balloons going too. Look at that. Peace.